A couple in Coopersville is not happy with the recent construction job on their property.
They agreed to pay $50,000 for a new pole barn and so far have shelled out $35 grand. But they tell me the contractor did not finish the job and made several errors along the way.
I put a string around it.
Ron Malone shows us his unfinished pole barn.
And you can see that the wall's pretty wavy.
And on the inside, he tells us the back wall does the same. The window frames are too large and the windows themselves are crooked.
This one's 7/16.
It's a big investment for Ron. This was supposed to be his man cave.
I always wanted one and I thought now would be a good time to build it.
That's because his mom's home in Jenison recently sold. Some of his things were kept in her pole barn, so he wanted his own. A place to work on a few things, fix cars, and store his belongings. First, he needed a contractor.
I actually found him through a friend, a firefighter friend, and he was on the department and he says, have Elliot give you an estimate.
This is the invoice with Elliot Parcher of Parcher Renovations, who promised to build Malone a 40-foot by 56-foot pole barn for $50 grand. Malone, as the invoice shows, gave Parcher half the money as a down payment, $25 grand on September 29th. The work later started in December.
At first he worked on it steady, but then it was kind of a material issue where he had to wait for materials to come in because of this COVID thing.
That's when Malone says the issue got worse. The barn was designed to be 16 feet tall, have steel siding, and 3 overhead doors. The deal also called for insulation and a 4-inch concrete floor that never got put in.
It was just kind of a hit and miss, you know. He'd show up and work, and then I wouldn't hear from him.
Text messages seem to be the way to go. In one, Parcher wrote, as long as the customer is happy and he gets his money, that's what matters.
Every time I noticed an issue, I was telling him that, hey, you know, this needs taken care of. And I think he just developed an attitude because I was not really picking his work apart as he was going, but telling him issues we were having.
In December, while Malone's wife was walking the dog, she noticed a corner of a window was missing, so he texted Parcher. He replied, I'll ask the crew and see if somebody put it in their tool bag. Hopefully, it can get glued back on. Malone felt there were structural issues as well, so he reached back out and got this response, saying it was fixed, the sagging in the back wall was also being taken care of, and they found the broken window piece that should be glued back in place.
One night he was out on a date, he told me, and he couldn't talk and he'd get with me later, and I don't believe he ever did.
Malone tells us Parcher ordered the wrong color of metal. The shingles were not right either. The overhead doors that arrived had no insulation, and screws were not even drilled into the wood.
I actually need siding because there's holes drilled in the side of mine where he missed the purlins. I mean, it looks like somebody shot it with a .22 in places.
In January, Malone gave Parcher another 10 grand after he said he needed the money to pay his crew.
The last day he worked on it, they just loaded all the materials and yeah, he was gone.
Ron tells us Parcher gathered his personal items and left on February 4th. He has not returned or finished the job.
Right now, I couldn't even get a garage doorman to put doors in the building because it's so out of square and out of plumb.
I emailed Parcher twice and texted him to get his side of the story, but after I told him I was with Fox 17, he never responded to my questions. So we showed up to the address listed on the invoice. But no answer. Ron is frustrated and just wants a good building that he can use, especially after paying $35 grand.
The work that he's done so far, and honestly, I don't think he knows how to fix it, or he would have. I think he owes me the labor because what he's done all needs redone. I mean, I know he has time into it, but it was a waste.
Malone tells me that he has been talking with a lawyer about his options. He just wants it all fixed because, again, he paid $35 grand. It also needs to be done by November to move his stuff in. If you are dealing with any contractor, it's advised you only give them 10 to 20% of the total cost up front. If they ask for more than that, that is a big red flag. And remember, if your contractor cannot offer a reasonable explanation for a high down payment, maybe they need to go buy certain things and they don't adjust it for you, experts say find another builder.
It is good advice, and keep us posted on that. Hope he gets his man cave after all
he's
this.
excited for it.